Hey fellow problem solvers, Colfax Math here. Today I'm going to go over a second video in a playlist. It's going to be a series of videos to prepare you for the math portion of the Hesi A2 exam. In today's video, we're going to go over simplifying expressions, PEMDAS, that's a mnemonic device to remember the order of operations, parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. We're going to go over simplifying expressions involving positive and negative sign numbers. And we're going to look at word problems involving addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. And there's going to be a lot of fractions in there as well. I would highly recommend you have a notebook out in front of you. Try the problem on your own with the video paused. Unpause the video and then watch how I do the problem. A lot of these are representative problems that are going to be similar on any standardized test. So this is also a great practice test, not only for the HESI, but for the ASVAB as well. I'll give you a lot of tips and tricks to do well on any standardized test. To do well on any standardized math test, the key is to practice. The more you practice, the better you do. The only way to learn how to juggle is practice. You can't listen to me talk about juggling, you got to get in there and practice. So that's the same with this right here. There's more information on this web page right here, or you could get the app on your phone. You could either go to the App Store or Google Play to download the app, and there's really a lot of helpful information here. And with that said, let's go ahead and get started. This is going to be an order of operations problem. I'm just going to talk a little bit about order of operations before I do this problem. So take some notes first. So the mnemonic device again is PEMDAS. And that just helps you remember the order that you do the operation. So PEM, the P, is parentheses. E is then you do the exponents. So anything to an exponent. Then you do multiplication, division, either way in order from left to right. So this is multiplication, this is division. Then after you've done all the parentheses, all the exponents, all multiplication and division, that's when you do the addition or subtraction. Some people remember that as well with please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. And again, multiplication, division is either order from left to right. And then addition, subtraction, either order from left to right. So with all that said, let's go ahead and do this problem here. I would pause the video, do the best you can. Do this work, copy it down, do the work. Unpause the video, and then watch how I do this problem. Let me get rid of this. Hopefully you have this in your notes here. All right, so to do this problem, I got parentheses first. So the first thing I'm going to do is what in the parentheses. So I have that 50 divided by 5 squared times, now I got this parentheses, 86 minus 36. Well, the 6's will cancel, so that's going to give me 50 plus 3 to the third power, that's cubed, minus 64, 8 squared, 64 minus 46. So now I have to do this as well. 64 minus 46, 20 would be 66, so it's got to be 18. Or I could do it this way, 64 minus 46. Borrow from the 6, that gives me 14. 5 minus 4 is 18, so this is 18. So I've done the parentheses. Now that I've done the parentheses, I am next going to do the exponents. So that's going to be that and that. So I have that 50 divided by 5 squared. Squared means the number times itself. 5 times 5 is at 25 times 50 plus 3 cubed. 3 times 3. 3 cubed is 3 times 3, 9 times 3, 27. So this thing here is 27 minus 18. So I've done all the parentheses, all the exponents. Now I do multiplication and division from left to right. 50 divided by 25 is 2 times 50 is 100 plus 27 minus 18. So I've done all the divisions, multiplications from left to right. Now I'm going to do my addition and subtractions from left to right. 100 plus 27 is 127 minus 18. I got to borrow from here to get 17 minus 8, 9, 0, 109. Correct answer is 109. Answer C right there. Okay, I also have the answers there. Here we have another problem, same thing. It's order of operations in fractional form. Pause the video, do the best you can, unpause the video, and then check your work against mine. Okay, so from left to right, I have this times this plus this, so I have to do those first. I have positive times a negative. That is going to give me a negative. Multiply across the top to get negative 1. Multiply across the bottom to get 10 plus 3 over 10. Change the color there to white. And then now I have a common denominator. The way to add or subtract fractions, you have to have a common denominator. I already have that. Negative 1 plus 3 gives me 2. And I keep that common denominator at 2/10. I don't see it up there, and that's because I have to reduce. 2 goes into here once, into here 5 times to give me 1/5. Correct answer, answer D right there. Okay. We have the same thing here. It's going to be a mix of fractions, decimals, multiplication, and division. We're going to just work left to right on this one because it's all multiplication division. So I think you could do this a lot of different ways, but I think the easiest way for me that I see right now is to convert this 0.5 in a fractional form. That's going to be a 1/2. 0.5 is 0.5 over 1. 5 over 10. 5 over 10 reduces to 1/2. So I have 4/7 times 1/2 divided by 8 over 21. I'm just going left to right. We're going to talk about that division in a second. Multiply across the top, 4. 7 times 2 is 14. So this portion of it is 4/14. I'm going to reduce that. So this is equal to 2/7. 2 goes in here twice and here 7 times. So this thing right here is the equivalent of 2/7. The way I divide fractions is I multiply by the reciprocal. So I divide fractions by multiplying by the reciprocal. I flip that thing over to get 21 over 8. So there's my problem right there. Change colors here a little bit. So I have 21 over 8. I'm going to reduce. 2 will go into here once. 2 goes into here 4 times. 7 goes into here once. 7 goes into here 3 times. I've reduced it. Multiplication across the top, 3. Multiplication across the bottom, 4. 3/4. Correct answer, answer B right there. Some of this fraction isn't too familiar. Maybe go back and watch my first video in this playlist. I'm going to try and get one video out every week. But the first one really goes over a lot of addition, subtraction, multiplication, division of fractions. If you didn't cancel, you could still just multiply across the top to get 42 over 56 and then reduce afterwards. 2 will go into here 21 times, into here, what is that, 28 times? And then 7 goes into here 3 times, 7 goes into here 4 times. It'll give you the same thing. Okay, let's move on. Question number 4. We got a lot going on there. No parentheses, no exponents. So we're just looking at multiplication and division first, and then addition and subtraction next, from left to right. I think what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to turn them all into improper fractions from mixed numbers. So the way I do that is I take the integer out the front, that 5 say, I multiply it by the denominator to get 20, and I add the numerator. So that 5 1/4 becomes 21/4 minus 2 times 3, 6, plus 1, 7/3, 7/3, plus 1/3, plus 1/3, times, and then I got to go 5 times 2, 10, plus 1, 11/2, divided by, we'll keep it as a divided by for now, 2 times 2, 4, plus 1, 5/2. So divided by 5/2. PEMDAS, parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. So I go all the way over here, and I'm going to do that division first. Actually, I go from left to right. So I do this multiplication first. So 1/3 times 11/2 is, I just go across the top, 11/6. So this portion here gives me 11/6. I still have these out front. 21/4 minus 7/3 plus this 11/6 divided by, remember that, I'm going to multiply by that thing flipped over, 2/5. Nothing there cancels, so I multiply across the top to get 22/30. And then I still have that 21/4 minus 7/3 plus that multiplication division portion. I'm going to go back to white. I'm going to try and move it up here. The only way I could add or subtract fractions is with a common denominator. It's a pretty hard one to see. I'm looking for a number that 4 will go into, 3 will go into, and 30. 3 goes into 30, but 4 does not. But 4 does go into 60. So I'm going to have to go all the way up to 60. To get this to be a 60, I multiply by 1, right? 2/2 is equivalent to 1, doesn't affect the value of it. So this last term is going to be 44/60. This term right here, to get this to 60, I have to multiply by 20/20. Again, this is equivalent to 1, doesn't change the value, but gives me a 60 on the denominator. So that's minus 140/60, and that's plus. Then to get this to 60, 30/15, I multiply by 15/15. Right, that's going to give me 30/60. Again, multiplying by 1 doesn't change the value. 21 times 15, 5, 10, placeholder, 1, 2, 5, 1, 315. So this is 315/60. Pretty hard problem. Now I have that common denominator. I got a minus, a plus. I'm just going left to right. Over that common denominator is 60. 315 minus 140. 315 minus 140. 5 minus 0. Got to borrow here. 11 minus 4. 7. 175. So this 315 minus 140, 175, plus that 44 gives me 9, 11, carry the 1, 219. So I have 219/60. From there, I'm looking at my answers, and I could see that 60 goes into 219 less than 4 times, so it has to be answer A. So let me run through that a little bit slower. I have an improper fraction. I need to convert it to a mixed number. The way I do that is I go 219 divided by 60. 4 would be 240, so that's too big. So it would only go in there 3 times to give me 180. 9 minus 0. 11 minus 8, 39. So it would give me 3 and 39/60. My remainder over that number. Then that reduces because 13 goes into there. No, it doesn't. 3 goes into there 13 times. 3 goes into there 20 times. But I don't have to do that last step because as soon as I get here, I could see it's going to be 3 something, only one answer in there. So there's question 4. So on this problem here, before I even get started, let's just take a look at it, take a look at the answers. First thing I note is 3 of the answers are positive, 1's negative, which I find kind of interesting. If I was in a rush and I didn't have time to actually do the problem, I would have to guess between A and B. They're too similar. So I could tell the intent of the problem, see if they could catch you up with a negative, positive. Order of operations against multiplication before addition and subtraction. So I have to do what's inside here first. 150 times negative 60, positive times negative is going to give me a negative. So that's going to be negative. Minus, that minus sign there, negative times negative is going to be a positive. So I'm going to have a negative number. Let's just make up one, negative 5, minus another number. So negative 5 minus 5 is going to give me negative 10. This is actually bigger than that one. So no matter what, it's going to have to be a negative answer. So I know the only answer that's negative is answer A. So that's the only answer it could be. So it is answer A. But let's go ahead and do this problem. If you don't really quite get that trick or you want to verify it, 150 times 60, I know it's going to be negative. 15 times 6, I could double that, 30 times 3, 90, to get 9,000. So 150 times 60 is 9,000. And again, it is positive times negative, so it's negative 9,000. I have this negative right here, that negative right there. I'm going to put an orange right here. And then now I have a negative times a negative, which is going to give me a positive. So I have 750 times 60. So I'm going to do 750 times 60. I'm actually just going to do 75 times 60 and then add a 0 on at the end. 0, 0, placeholder, 30, carry the 3, 45. So that's going to give me 45. But don't forget, I didn't do 750, I did 75, so I add that 0 on there. Again, it is negative times negative, so it is positive. So I have negative 9,000 minus positive 45,000. A lot of times the way I do these is I think of this as the same thing as plus a negative. So negative 9,000 plus negative 45,000 gives me that negative 54,000. All right, well, hopefully that was helpful. Correct answer, answer A right there. See what we got next here. Question number 6, order of operations, some exponents in there. Quite a few pieces to this one. Again, first thing is that parentheses before anything else. So I have that 7 squared out front, and then I have those parentheses. 2 to the 5th is 2 times 2, 4, times 2, 8, times 2, 16, times 2, 32. So 2 to the 5th is saying 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, 32. Well, then I have 32 minus 32, which is 0, over 2 squared. I don't even have to do those, but anything times 0 is 0 over 2 squared, 4. 0 divided by anything is 0. So the correct answer here, answer A. Or as soon as you see 2 to the 5th and 32 are the same, you could see you're multiplying by 0 and it's going to be a 0. Any number divided by 0 is undefined. However, 0 divided by anything will always be 0. So on number 6, correct answer, answer A. Moving right along. Question number 7 right here. I know I say pause the video and do the problem before I do it, but hold on before you pause this. Let's just take a look at this before we even do anything. 6 times 1.5, that's going to be, say, 9, more or less. I'll estimate it at 9. So I have something like a 9 plus 5 times 3, 15, plus, let's say, 13. That's going to give me 24 plus 13, 37. 37 times a little bit more than 1. It's going to be a little bit more than 37. I look up there and there are no correct answers even close to that. So in fact, this is a typo and there are no correct answers here. If you want me to keep doing the problem, now you can pause the video and multiply all that out if you want. And then I'll show you the way I would do it. But you would just do 1.45 times 6, because that's in the parentheses first. That's going to give you 30. Carry the 3, 27. Carry the 2, 8. The decimal place is over 1, 2 right here. So I go over 1, 2, and I get 8.7. And I can see that's pretty close to my estimate. So I'm in the right ballpark there. Then I'm going to do this 2.95 times 5 over here. 25, carry the 2, 47, carry the 4, 10 plus 4, 14. Decimal place is over 1, 2, so I have 14.75. And then I have plus 1295. So now I've done my multiplications. These are brackets inside of brackets. So I'm going to take that 8.7. I'm going to add that decimal to it. The way I add decimals is they have to line up. Then I'm going to add that decimal to it, 12.95. Now I got all my decimals lined up. I add straight down 10, carry the 1, 14, 15. 15 and 9 is 24. Carry the 2, 10, 14, 16. Carry the 1, and I get 36.40. And then now I have to take that 36.40 times 1.08. You would never have to do this on a standardized test with no calculators. It would be really evident what the answer would be from here. You probably figure it out before you even had to do so many steps as this. But if you want to know how to do that, I take that times that. 36.4 times 1.08. That's going to give me 32. Carry the 3, 48, 49, 50, 51. Carry the 5, 24, 29. Placeholder, these are all zeros. Double placeholder, 1 times 4, 6, 3. I add down, I get 2, 1, 13. Carry the 1. Big number, but I got to remember my decimal place is over 1, 2, 3. So I go over 1, 2, 3. And my correct answer is 39.312. And remember, we were expecting something like a little bit more than 37 or something like that. So again, sorry about that typo. You should be able to figure it out without having to do so many steps in any sort of multiple choice test problem where you're not using a calculator. Let's move on from there. Okay, number 8. Going strong, almost halfway there. Let's see, a marathon completes a race in 2 hours, 40 minutes. And if the runner maintains a constant pace and covers 2 miles every 20 minutes, how far does a runner run in the race? So one technique I always do, whether it's a computer test or a paper test, is I mark it up as much as I can. On a computer test, I write down the key numbers on my scratch paper and I number it. So if I have time afterwards, I could go back and check my work. I really try and stay pretty organized so that as I check it, it makes sense, and so I don't make any careless mistakes. So he runs a race in 2 hours and 40 minutes, and I could see this mileage is every 20 minutes. So I'm just going to take it and break it into 20-minute increments. So 2 hours, well, 1 hour is 20, 20, 20. So this 2 hours is going to be 3 times 2. This is going to be 60, right? 6 20-minute sections plus 2 more. So this total thing will be 8 20-minute sections. So he runs a total of 8 sections of 20, right? So I'm going to take that 8 and multiply it by 2 to get 16 miles. I know that's kind of how my head works. I might not have translated that very well. So let's go ahead and do everything. So correct answer is answer B. If you follow my logic there, let me go through another way to do it. This is going to be 120, 160 minutes. So he runs 160 minutes total. So I'm only working with 1 unit. Then I multiply it by the ratio of his rate, 2 miles per 20 minutes. Minutes cancel. That's going to give me miles. That's what I want because it's asking how many miles. Then I could reduce that. 20 goes in here. 20 goes in here once and in here 8 times. 8 times 2 gives me 16 miles. Better way to do it. Probably made a lot more sense that way. The first way was just the first way I saw it. There's not always a correct, better way to do it. Sometimes it's just the best one you see. Okay, moving right along to number 9. Isaac has 7.5 packs of smoked bologna sausage, and he cooked 4 3/5 packs for a party. How much does he have left? So I could see what we're doing here is we have this number and this number, and we have to, this is what he starts with, that's what he uses, what is left. So I read that as subtraction. Go ahead and pause the video, do that problem. Let me turn that sentence into an equation, 7.5 minus 4 3/5. I could do this 2 different ways. I could turn it into improper fraction, 15 halves minus 23rd fifths, then get a common denominator. Or I could just get common denominators first. So the common denominator is going to be a 10. So to get to a 10, I'm going to have to multiply only the fraction here by 5 over 5. Any number I want, as long as the numerator and denominator are the same, so I multiply by 1. So I have 7 5/10 minus 4. I got to multiply this by 2 over 2, 6/10. I could turn them back into improper fractions there. Let me glance at my answers. I can see they are in tenths. I think I'm on the right track here. I think I will turn them into improper fractions and then back. I'll do it both ways. So that's going to be 75 tenths. 4 times that, 46 tenths. 75 minus 46, was that 29? 29 tenths. Then I'm going to go back. 10 goes into 29 2 times with 9 left over to give me 2 9/10. Answer D. The other way I could do it is I could just look at my integers and do 7 minus 4. That's going to give me a 3. 5/10 minus 6/10 is negative 1/10. So I have to do 3 minus that 1/10, which is going to give me 2 9/10. Same answer, answer D. Okay, problem number 10 here. Henry drank 3 3/4 glasses of strawberry limeade, while his sister drank 1 1/2 glasses. How many more glasses of the beverage did Henry drink than his sister? Same thing. I got this amount minus this amount, and we're looking for the difference between those two. Common denominator again. It's not going to be too hard because I have 3 3/4 minus 1 1/2. I'm just going to multiply just a fraction by 2 over 2. So that's going to give me that 1 2/4. This one's going to be a lot easier than the last one because this fraction is smaller than this one. So I'm just going to do 3 minus 1 to get 2. 3/4 minus 2/4 to get 1/4. And the difference between what Henry drank and his sister drank is 2 1/4. Correct answer, answer B. Right. Julian was asked to type 28.5 pages in 3 days. So this is it. This is a rate, fractions and rates. So he finished typing 11 pages on the first day, 9 3/4 pages on the second day. How many pages did she need to type on the third day? So this is also a difference. The rate's not going to be that important. I have to combine the total number of pages typed. Right? Combine means add together, so I'm going to add. The way I add fractions, common denominator, I have 1/2 and 3/4. Common denominator is going to be 4. So I'm going to take that 28.5, multiply just the fraction by 2 over 2, 28 2/4 plus 9 3/4. That's going to be the amount completed in day 1 and day 2. And then in 3 days. And then the difference between that. Wait, she finished typing 11 pages on the first day. No, I did this wrong. Sorry. Let me keep all this here. So I'm going to keep those common fractions. Let me reread this problem. And I'm looking over here, so looking at those answers. Julian was asked to type 28.5 pages. That's her total amount in 3 days. She finished typing 11 pages on day 1, 9 3/4 pages on day 2. Day 1, day 2. How many pages did she need to type on the third day? So I'm going to add the 11 on the first, the 9 3/4 on the second to get 20 3/4 out of a total of 28 2/4. So I'm going to subtract how much she did on day 1 and day 2 from this, 20 3/4. It's going to be a little tricky here because this fraction is larger than this one. But I got 28 minus 20 is 8. 2/4 minus 3/4 is negative 1/4. So I got to take that negative 1/4 from that 8 to get 7 3/4. Correct answer, answer B right there. Mike can type 3 3/4 pages in 45 minutes. How many same pages can he type in 1.5 hours? So a lot of decoding here. Get my white pen going. So he does 3 3/4 pages in 45 minutes. So I got that and that. How much can he type in 1.5 hours? Well, 1.5 hours is just 2 of these 45-minute sections. So I'm really just saying he does this in this amount. How many pages would he do in twice that amount of time? Right, 45 minutes to 1.5 is times 2. Right, 60 minutes to the hour. So a half hour is 30. So 60 and 30 give me 90 minutes, which is twice 45. So I'm going to take that 3 3/4 and I'm going to multiply it by 2. Again, rather than use the mixed number, in this case, I'm going to turn it into an improper fraction. Before I do that, I'm going to just look down there and see if I can figure it out. Well, 3 times 2 is going to be 6. 3/4 times 2 is going to be a lot more than that, like 1.5. So I can see the answer is D, 7.5. But let's do this. 4 times 3, 12. 15/4 times 2. I could reduce first. 2 goes into here once, into here twice. That gives me 15/2. 15 divided by 2, 7.5. Correct answer, answer D right there. All right, if you're still with me, congratulations for working so hard. You new to the channel, think about subscribing. I am going to build a whole playlist on Hesi math. And hopefully you're participating in this and not just watching it. You'll get a lot more out of it if you do the problems. You might want to pause right here as well. Just stand up, stretch for a second, and then come back and do a few more problems. Okay, postage on parcel A is 60 cents. Postage on parcel B is 3/5 of A. What is the total postage of both? Well, I know A is 60, so A is 60 cents. B is 3/5 of that 60, right? So that means multiplication. 5 goes into 60 12 times, n into itself once. So B is 36. So A is 60, B is 36. I add those two together, and that gives me 96 cents. Correct answer, answer D right there. All right, getting there. A man bought a pair of jeans for $23. A shirt for $14.95 and 3 ties for $7.98. What's the total cost of his clothing? It's kind of an order of operations. This is written out, but it's the number 3 times $7.98. Let me see if I could eliminate any answers. That's going to be about 24 plus 23 plus 15. If I was in a rush, I might be able to guess at it, but I think the best way to do this is just to multiply it out. So I have 3 ties at $7.98. I could do $7.98 times 3, or I could do 8 times 3, 24, minus 6 cents. But we'll go ahead and multiply this out. 24, carry the 2, 29, carry the 2, 21, 23, so 23.94, right? What I was saying in my head, I round this up to 8. 8 times 3 is 24, but then I took away 2 cents 3 times, so I subtract 6 from it. So then I have a pair of jeans for 23 even, and then a shirt for $14.95. I have all my decimal places lined up. I add 9, 18, carry the 1. My decimal place goes right there. I can look at my answers and see there's only one answer with 89 cents in it, so it has to be answer C. But 10, 11, carry the 1, 5, 6. So correct answer is 61.89. Answer C right there. Problem 15. Actually, if you're going to pause the video and do this problem, I'll let you know these multiple choice answers are incorrect. So pause the video, do the problem, come up with the best solution, and then check it against mine. Okay, number 15, a group of friends decided to play soccer for 4 hours. So that's written out. I'm going to put the numeric equivalent on there. This week they played for 1 hour, 1 1/4 hours on Saturday, and 45, there's a typo right there, 45 minutes on Sunday. So 45 minutes is hours 60. I split that into 15-minute to them as quickly